Guys, deluded, I'm back again. Thank you very much for having me, folks. Fridays, Q&A days. The light is really hurting my eye there. But yeah, you guys know Fridays, Q&A days. There's not the footballing season on at the moment, so I appreciate you guys coming hard. And I can't lie, you guys have asked a lot of questions. Had to leave it on the laptop, so obviously if you see my hand move, and I think I actually got the mouse. Yeah, like an idiot, I've put it in a weird position, but I think I can actually use the mouse. So yeah, if you see me leading over, I'm reading you guys' questions. I would show you guys the questions like I always do, but it's going to mess up everything that's clearly, neatly put here. Don't know why my headphones are there, but let's crack on, man. Some good questions, man. Better questions. Let's start with the first one. Alex asks is, which defender would you want to sign for Arsenal? Dayo, Upamecano or Jerome Boateng? Well, Jerome Boateng would stand up and improve our defence. He wants to leave Munich for a new challenge. He's at that age. He does come with a big injury risk in the sense that he's had a couple injuries of recent. Not that I'm using that to discredit him. So I'm inclined to go with Jerome Boateng because that would instantly improve our defence. But so would Upamecano, and he's sick. Like, you've seen me make a video about him. He's sick. It's a tough one. It's a tough one. Like, I'm gonna go against my principles and stuff. You guys know how much I love young footballers and all of these things and improving them. But in terms of instant impact, Upamecano would make an instant impact. But Jerome Boateng, he's a World Cup winner. He's won Champions League. He's come from Bayern Munich, and it would just galvanise the fans instantly. We'd instantly have. I would have faith in Upamecano, but those of you that don't follow youth football, things like that, might be like, who's he, this, that. This will galvanise, that will instantly galvanise the side Jerome Boateng and will make our defence go up several levels. So, in this instance, Jerome Boateng with a heavy heart, but it's either one, man, they're both sick. Jordan asks is, bro, what do you think about all the players we're getting linked with? Obviously, we've been linked with Bearman, so we've been getting linked with. I think it's good that we're getting linked with players in defensive positions because that's where we are weak at the moment, agreed. But I feel like we should be looking at more players that are already in the Premier League. Yeah, you could look at more players that are in the Premier League. If I had to go, and I know Stoke got relegated, but Butland's screaming to me if we need a keeper and we can't get other targets. And the core of Watford are the ones that's in my head at this current moment in time. Yeah, you could look at talents in, or even Mahrez. I would like, you guys know I'm a big Mahrez fan. I would love Mahrez, but these sort of players here that I've named, you got to overpay in football nowadays anyways, regardless. But we are going to have to overpay greatly in the Premier League. We have only got 50 million allegedly. So I don't really see us getting our value for money per se. I do think we could get a decent fee for the core, but as much as I rate Mahrez, could we go out and get them? So we're gonna get overpriced. So we're better off trying to utilize it. And I'll say this in every vid. Scouts, do your job. Try and save us some money. Try and get some lesser names or less known people and get them in. So yeah, I would love to go against love to sign some players that are in the Premier League, but there's only a few that I'd actually take if I'm honest with you, and we'd have to pay through the nose. So yeah, I'm all about improving the squad. I don't really care if they come from in the league or elsewhere. Hopefully that answers your question, bro, man. I'm sorry, my guy, but I can't say your name. You're gonna have to get in the comments and ask me and tell me how to pronounce that. Trojanovsky. I've tried, bro. No, you guys know I don't like to disrespect people's names, so forgive me if I haven't said that right. But he's asked, what do you think about playing 4-4-2, selling Bellerin and playing Mustafi at right back, Leno in goal? You've put right back Mustafi, centre half, the young Turkish man that we're being linked with. Mav or Holding at centre half, Koulibaly, left back Monreal. You've got left mid Ozil, centre mid Ramsey, centre mid Forsberg, right wing Mkhitaryan or Parit, up front Aubameyang and Lacazette. It's got potential, bro, but I must admit I'm not feeling the Mustafi right back stuff. Centre half's a decent shout. We could bring in Koulibaly and things. Ozil can play out wide, and he's done it for Germany in the last World Cup to great effect. But I'm not feeling that one, bro. It does feel a bit like players are being shoehorned within that. So it is decent. I would love the keeper, to be fair. Mav and Holding, I'd love them to get chances. It's a decent side, bro. Right wing Mkhitaryan can do it, and so can Peret, but that's not really Peret. That's actually not Peret's best position. And is Mkhitaryan, if you ask him, he'd probably want to play inside, even though he can do the flank thing expertly. There's scope to play 4-4-2, but if that could get worked on a bit, bro, you got something there. Bello asks is, I disagree with the person that said we should play 4-3-3 in my opinion. Now, this was under another vid. We should play 4-2-2-2 formation where everyone is put in the starting, where everybody in the starting 11 can play to their strengths. What's your thoughts on this? Well, 4-2-2-2, it could work, but I must admit, looking at Arsenal at the moment, it would make us even more narrow than we already are. And we need to use the flanks more. So I must admit, I'm not down for that, to be fair with you. In fact, I'm not even a fan of that. I don't have all the answers, but in fact, now that I think about it, no, it's got to be 4-1-4-1, if anything, or 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1. In my opinion, 4-4-2, depending. 4-4-2 is interesting because Unai Emery said he won't play it, but if you look at how he did with, he said he would use it if it gives us a chance of winning. And if you look at how he used Benega at times in a certain system and made him press as a striker out of possession, even though he's a midfielder, you can see the use of a 4-4-2. So I'm not feeling that. You've also said, you haven't mentioned Joel Campbell in a while. If he returns from loan, hopefully he comes back, he can be our wingers that play both sides. And having Dembele on loan, keep him or sell him. I would love Dembele, Ousmane Dembele on loan. That's not going to happen, my guy. Joel Campbell, there's no point speaking about him because his contract ends in 2018 and in a couple of weeks or so, and he's playing at the World Cup. So I'd love for him to get a decent move somewhere. As far as I believe it, that's when his contract ends. If it doesn't, fair enough. He has a chance to come back to pre-season and show something, but it's the end of Joel Campbell at Arsenal, bro. Nicholas Gordon-Harris asks, I thought you weren't feeling Emery. Here's what people seem to misunderstand. Like, you can have certain things you're not feeling about a manager but still be fully behind him. And you guys saw the comment. I don't need to go over that again. Unai Emery, I'm all behind him. He excites me, but he scares me by the same token. And if you look at his history, there are some concerns, but there's great reasons to be excited, and that's why I am. But I'm not going to sit here in any manager and be like, oh, he's amazing and stuff like that, and not recognise things. Like, I like to know what I'm getting. Let's take a prime Jose Mourinho. If Jose Mourinho in his prime, when he was winning titles, came and managed Arsenal, would you not say, yes, he's a serial winner and things like that, but he has problems with youth or playing football and a nice brand of football? You would. So, like anything, you have to critique, not even critique, just weigh up the pros and cons. There's more pros than cons for Unai Emery coming in, and the more you research and stuff, you're all for him. So rather than talk nonsense, please listen. Thank you very much. Next question. I can't say your name, my guy. Sorry. You're going to need to pronounce that for me. I don't want to embarrass you because I know I can't get that one, but you said, Delu Diguna, respect, man. Real quick, who do you think we should be signing this season to at least mount a title challenge? Well, if I could, I'd sign Lucas Torreira. Just bring in a centre-half, bring in a keeper, to be fair. Somebody's mentioned Leno already. There's some decent keepers there. I would love Koulibaly at centre-half. But again, the targets I've just listed off the top of my head, we cannot obtain. So seeing is believing, my guy. I wish I had all the answers. But regardless, the spine needs to be improved to mount any title challenge, my guy. Big Zark says, Arteta as number 2. Build him up to take over. I back this move. That would be decent, and I don't know if I've answered this a week ago, but if I'm Arteta, I mean, you already got a decent coaching job at City. Why would you want to leave to become a number 2 at Arsenal? If the next move you want to make is progression, like you want to be a manager or some sort of more senior position than you already have, there's no point making sideways moves, especially when you learn so much under Pep. And yeah, you could learn under Unai Emery. At the end of the day, it's a different coach with a different philosophy. But we're not where City are, and it's an exciting time to be behind City. And there's a lot of Pep's Guardiola. If you read a lot of his books, a lot of this coaching staff don't get a lot of praise, you know. So Arteta could learn a lot. And if I was him, I'd actually be looking at getting a manager job. If not, there's no need to leave City. Herbert asks, we're linked with Forsberg. Do you believe we are signing too many cams and trying to slot them as inverted wingers like Wenger did? To be fair, Forsberg can play in a 10 or expertly out wide. Like you said, he's similar to Mkhitaryan in that sense. But you could say he's a somewhat inverted winger, but at the same time, you could say he's kind of direct and he's on taking his man on and pulling people out of position. So I'm all for Forsberg, to be honest. I must admit, when it comes to him out of 10, if you were to, like, I'm like a 5 or a 4. Like, I like the guy, but some people go crazy over him. I would love him. He's 26 years of age and it could be decent. He's at the World Cup, I believe, with Sweden, so we'll see what'll go on in that sense. But I do genuinely believe what you said away from the specific player. We're too narrow as a side as it is. If we were narrow and tough to break down, then cool. But we need to start using the flanks both with our fullbacks and our wingers more. We're crying out for a winger. Hopefully, with Nelson coming through, he's still a young man. We have to be patient. The direct winger's going to be there. We would love a Malcolm or something like that. But again, it's wishful thinking. I do share you, my bro. Next question, Tariq asks is, what do you think of these new age managers? What do you think these new age managers will do differently from the old ones? He's obviously referring to the likes of Ferguson, Wenger versus, I don't know, maybe we could say Poch, and these new age managers, Arteta's been linked with them, etc. I would say the first one would be they have to be more, they're going to be more hands-on in the sense of improving players and having to constantly talk to players on the touchline. But they're going to be less hands-on in the sense that, yeah, Wenger, Ferguson, maybe Sean Dyche and Eddie Howe and a couple more to a degree, away from being a manager. They had says in what happens on the training pitch expansions, what happens in all sorts of things regarding the club. I don't really think new age managers are going to get that anymore, to be honest, because you're seeing the titles change from head coach. Even when it comes to planning on fourth planning, I don't think we're going to see the likes of Wenger and Fergie, in the sense that Ferguson took United to a degree to the next level. Wenger forthcoming with the stadium and things. I do believe the new age managers will get an opportunity to express themselves in this, but it won't be like that. Probably the longest long-serving managers we'll see is probably Sean Dyche and Eddie Howe, and to a degree. Even if we look at transfers, we're now seeing that, yeah, managers are allowed to pick their players, but I'm so sure Poch said once he picks a list, and then whoever returns, he gives it to Levy or whatever, and whoever they return with. I can't remember if that's specifically true against Pochettino, and if I'm wrong, forgive me, but that is used for a lot of players, managers, with the directors of footballs and the models. We even look like Klopp's probably the only one that's, off the top of my head, that's going to be the only one really that gets to control his own transfers in a sense like that. So for me, the first one would be they're going to have to be less hands-on but more hands-on. I'd say they'd have to be, and I'd say they have to be a bit more sympathetic to people. And I say, for want of better words, in the sense that you can't really, and I don't necessarily mean shouting, because you don't need to, a negative message isn't necessarily delivered through shouting. Players are divas nowadays. If you say certain things to players, they want to leave. So a manager's going to have to be very has to be skilled with emotional intelligence and reading people and how to speak to everyone in a different way. I mean, managers have always had to do that, but typically, if we go back 10 years or so, a manager could have one way of talking to someone, and if the majority get that, then understand that, then it's cool. It doesn't matter about the three who don't. Now the three who don't are arguably the more dangerous than the collective, because it only takes a few bad apples to spoil the whatever the saying is. That's a great question. And also, managers would be more expendable because of this. If they're just purely on footballing and dealing with the coaching and stuff on the training ground, they're going to be able to get moved on. Look at Wenger. For years, he's needed to move on. But because he was more than a manager to a degree, it was difficult. I don't really think we're going to see that to a degree anymore. And finally, we've got Truth8884 asks, what about 4-4-2, bro? Is Lacazette going to play and thrive? From my understanding, he's big on 4-2-3-1 and 4-3-3. At the end of the day, all of these players, it's a new manager, they have to start again, and different formations makes it harder for us to play. We don't necessarily have to shoehorn players in, and I don't necessarily want to see players not playing. Like, I want to see Lacazette playing, but different formations makes it harder for us to beat. Not everybody has to be shoehorned in every game by force. And 4-4-2, Unai Emery sadly said that not even sadly, it's not really one of his favoured ones. So there's still scope for Aubameyang and Lacazette to play. Maybe one plays on the flanks, or maybe it's a 4-3-3, but in reality it's two strikers or a sense. I mean, if Suarez, Messi and Neymar made it work to a degree, these man can somewhat. So I'm keen to see what happens. But on that note, guys, deluded, man, get in the comments, subscribe and do the rest. I've loved this Q&A, man. A lot of great questions, and I'd love it if you guys come hard again. Like I said, get in the comments, subscribe, follow me on my socials, deludedguna04, Snapchat, dguna04. I'm out. Deluded.